big on taking the things that we learned and transferring it to corporate. Because, I mean, when you're talking about the thought process required to serve 700,000 plus people and organizations of thousands, it's very different than a company who's trying to change culture in 500, 1,000 people, or even a couple thousand people. There's very few companies with 20, 30,000 employees out there.
Right.
But we're talking about trying to shift culture in communities
Yes.
of almost 1 million people.
Yeah.
Right, which is a very difficult task. And I think when we look at the skill set that we developed, that it's very transferable. A lot of the things that you said just now, how would you take that and start to look at shifting culture? Because you talked about seeing people where they are. Like, maybe dig into a little bit of that.
Yeah. So if to go farther back than that, what you have to do as an employer is you have to start. For us, we always had to focus on bringing in members that have high soft skills versus high hard skills, right? High soft skills is all about the people, the humanity, the person. High hard skills is, the qualifications, how many certificates and letters are after their name. We need people. And we need people that are comfortable putting themselves in vulnerable positions. We need people that want to engage with every aspect of humanity. And it's very important because we're serving multiple kings.
Yes.
And we have to be able to pivot. I can't have you come into me and say, you know what, I would love to be part of the Durham Regional Police. I'm really great at talking to people. That's excellent. Are you okay being in a dynamic situation where all of a sudden nobody's talking and people are doing, and now you got to go based on the nonverbal actions? Oh, no. I'm very good at talking. Okay, well, you might not be a perfect fit for Durham Regional Police or any other police service. We need people that can pivot where this is the situation that you're in. Okay, it's completely changed to this situation. And are you still comfortable? I need you to be comfortable because I need you to remember your training. And if you get in that discomfort where you forget about your training, you're going to revert back to something that might not be the proper course of action.
Right.
Right. So it's bringing in people who can pivot, people that are comfortable around people where soft skills are the strongest. And quite honestly, and this is just my own personal opinion, that's the best in terms of a dynamic situation where you have almost 1 million people that you have to serve, and everybody is different. Some people, we have to remember, some people don't want you there, right? I'd be lying to say everybody loves the police, right? So sometimes you're helping people who don't want your help.
Right.
Sometimes you're helping people who don't like you because you're not the same cultural identity as them. Sometimes you're helping people who cannot fundamentally relate to you. Sometimes you're helping people who don't want your help, but they really do want your help. But they don't want your help because people are watching them. But deep down inside, they're like, please help me. But on the outside, they're saying, I don't want your help because somebody else is in the room watching them. And so you have all these dynamics in the community, and we have to be able to address all of them. If you just think of the sheer volume of things, I call them things, that the community may require.
Right.
And we have to be able to respond to all of them. All of them. And so it takes a special person to be able to do that confidently and competently. And that's kind of where we have to build our strategies to allow our people to have those tools, which is really the other part of it is not everybody's going to show up and have all these tools. Most don't. So how do you develop people so that they have those tools to pivot based on the needs of the organization and based on the needs of the community, right? That's the bigger one, is being able to give people the tools.
And that's one of the things we focused on at Discourse, right? Is
absolutely,
building that capacity for people to have the tools and the mindset and the skills that are required to connect people with their community. And listen, communities are companies. Like, that culture that we saw, that's a community.
Yeah.
Those people are all a part of a community in that organization. It's no different. When you look at sort of, outside the sort of society, if you will, and you look at sort of a company, that is a community within its own.
Yeah, Absolutely.
And the interesting thing that I find is that those people all go back into their communities,
Right.
right?
Right.
And then they come back into this shared communal community.
Yeah.
But the interesting thing is they all bring a different lived experience.
You can have people in the same community bring different lived experience, right? You can't assume because you've engaged with somebody that is Tamil
Right?
that the next Tamil person you run into will be like the last Tamil person you ran into. Right? You can't assume that, and nor you shouldn't assume that. And so there's this transition that you're constantly in. And so, and I would be lying to say I could give you all the tools to deal with A, B, C, and D, because you're going to run into F and G, and would not have taught you how to engage that. The training that I've always championed was training where I've given you the tools to transition so that your mindset allows you to learn to open up and to ebb and flow as the circumstance changes. Because I can't give you all the answers. What I can do is train your mind to say, hey, you know what? Keith didn't tell me about this stuff, but I'm in the right mind space. I can transition with it. Whether it requires asking questions, saying, excuse me, sir, excuse me, ma'am, I'm not familiar with what you're talking about, but can you help me learn? When you say that to somebody, they're not going to push back. They're going to say, wow, that's pretty powerful that you're even asking me. As opposed to somebody saying, I don't understand what you people are doing right now. And you can see how two different queries can solicit different responses. So it's not about me trying to give everybody the tools. It's about me trying to give you the mindset so that you can walk in and your tool will change as your circumstance changes, right? And that takes a lot of empathy, it takes a lot of structure, it takes a lot of learning, and it ultimately takes caring. If you don't care, then we're dead in the water.